Well, guys, I killed off whatever originality I had left.
Was that supposed to be funny, faggot?
Fuck off, you troll. Alright, anyway, it's because I'm joining the YouTube Bandwagon, where all your original ideas go to die and everybody rides each other for views and money. Doesn't that fucking sound great? Because it sure sounds to me, because I'm gonna be a part of it. Since I am such a self-absorbed piece of shit, I will take the credit, because that's what every other bandwagon has done. Because why not? And for those taking me seriously, you're fucking idiots. But not as big as the idiots I'm going to respond to right now. A little disclaimer for those wondering what the fuck was the beginning. That was just basically me making fun of myself before anyone else does for joining the YouTube bandwagon and just trying to call people out, supposedly. So let's get right into it. So in case you little privileged shits don't know, a question called Reasonable Questions for Anti-SJWs, formed by a bunch of SJWs that are some renowned, some are not renowned in the YouTube community, for people who are anti-SJW or against their positions. As soon as I heard about the video, I was like, fuck yeah, man. I'm gonna respond with my own original insight. I'm gonna say things that no one ever said before. Until I saw the list of reply videos. Fuck! So I just gave up on the whole originality thing entirely. So I just showed several clips I could briefly answer. So you don't need to be bored to death, and no one needs to waste too much fucking time listening to these idiots. Or me, if you consider me an idiot. So let's get right into it.
Are you able to understand the irony of responding to the perceived political correctness of the left with exasperated reactionary hypersensitivity of your own?
Probably because it's much more interesting that way, and we don't actually think or react in that certain manner. A real reaction would be like, oh, people actually think that? Oh, okay. I didn't know people think like that, but I disagree. You know, shit. But nobody wants to fucking watch that shit. It's much more entertaining for somebody to wreck somebody and be over dramatic. That's why people watch fucking Filthy Frank and shit. He's over dramatic as fuck about his content, but he still gets a point across with most of his videos.
How do you define right wing? Anti-SJWs often have an aversion to being labeled as right wing, yet they regularly defend the right and bash the left. Therefore, why is being labeled right wing a bad thing to you? And if it's because right wing is used as a pejorative, can you not see how labeling people as SJWs or regressives is also pejorative?
Maybe it's because no anti-SJWs are identifying as right wing, you cuck. Oh yeah. Now let me throw this question right back at you. How do you define left wing? There are a lot of different sorts of people on the left side of the spectrum. Communists, socialists, anarchists. They're anarcho-socialists, if you want to be more specific. They're all left wing. Are you talking about liberals? Are you talking about the regressive left that we constantly bash upon? Because the idea of why we dislike being called right wing is because it's inaccurate. We don't support smaller government, and we also support larger programs for people who are in need of them. But I shouldn't say that because I am more center left. But I think this would be the argument of people who would identify as being left wing or being liberal. So I guess that should answer your question if that's what you were asking.
Rather than telling people you disagree with to drink bleach, wouldn't it be more productive for you to have an actual conversation about the issues you feel matter? Or is it just easier to do the bleach thing?
Oh man, we got a Chris Reagan fan over here. Apparently he misheard what he actually said about bleach, which I rather drink bleach than read or watch this. Not that an SJW would know that. They probably blocked me already and probably blocked Chris also.
Are you aware that the ridiculous buzzwords you helped to popularize, like SJW and cuck and regressive, have all lost whatever meaning they once had and only serve now as casual insults and pejoratives to derail any meaningful conversation?
I'm pretty sure that's the reason why they became so popular. Because they're an insult to the people that are siding with the progressive left. And as well, words tend to change up their definition all the time. Anarchy usually referred to a governmentless society back around 1908 in Britain, one of the UK dictionaries. I forget how you pronounce it, but now it's considered chaos. Anarchy is what often people think of as chaos, another word for chaos, but it's not necessarily the case when it was originally the case. And anarchists don't necessarily support violence, but that's the notion associated with them. Different words change over time, no matter how you look into it. Not that you're the one to speak, knowing that you overuse racism, sexism, rape culture, I don't know what the fuck that is, and so many other things that have lost whatever meaning that they originally had, as you would say.
In videos and in the comment sections, anti-feminists often take up the most extreme or the weakest feminist position they can find, or they just straight up misrepresent what the feminist position is. Instead, why not take up the strongest, most robust feminist argument you can find and really challenge yourself?
Primarily because this is YouTube and nobody really wants to sit through a lecture or debate and that has no sort of entertainment value. Well, there are a few people, and if you go to Sargon or Cod, he definitely dissects many of these things that you would consider strong feminist arguments. And if you actually paid attention, you would see there are many people within the anti-sjw community that have wrecked these arguments, so-called wrecked.
I am deeply concerned with male addiction rates, suicide rates, and abuse rates, because I have worked with these issues in the quote-unquote real world. Would you be willing as anti-feminists to put aside your differences with feminists for the greater good of addressing these issues, especially as the kind of solutions needed are not necessarily gendered? And if so, I would actually like you to let me know, because I'm not fucking around or presenting any gotchas here. I actually really think that we could get something done if we work together. So yeah.
Sure, I honestly don't care. As long as we're both equally for the incentive of trying to help other human beings. I don't care if you're Muslim, atheist. Well, I'm an atheist as well. But if you were a Muslim or atheist, or any sort of religion or any sort of ideology or any sort of race or any sort of creed or whatever, I could care less. As long as you have the incentive to actually help other people, and I think that's would be the more important thing for me.
What is third wave feminism? Because I've often heard you folks insist that you have no objection to feminism in general. It's specifically third wave feminism that you have a quarrel with. So what is third wave feminism specifically? And what specifically about third wave feminism do you have such a problem with?
Steve, I will give you my answer as soon as you gonna block me. How about we do that first and then I'll give you my answer.
Why is it that this feminist represents all feminists, but this men's rights activist doesn't represent all men's rights activists?
Whoa, wait, sexism all of a sudden? Ladies and men are different? So we're supposed to punch men and not hit ladies and open doors for men but not ladies? Fuck you, get out of my face, you tiny piece of shit.
Oh man, props for that guy. Understand how this connects to anti-sjws. This is a man right activist, and I don't think I've ever heard TJ or any large anti-sjw channel ever proclaim that they're a male rights advocate. But I don't, nor do they assume that one feminist, so-called feminist, represents all feminists. You can only represent yourself, and you can only represent your life decisions, and that's it. There are many people within an ideology that have smaller ideologies within an ideology, just like there's Christianity, but there's also Protestantism, Catholicism, and Orthodoxy, and there are even smaller sub religions in between that. So to say that a feminist represents all feminists would be inaccurate in and of itself. You can only represent your own ideals.
Why am I continually asked to answer for the views of feminists if I agree with feminism's overall aims, but don't agree much with those particular feminists? Does that mean that I can ask you to answer for anybody who labels themselves similarly to you, even if you don't agree much?
No, you can only represent yourself. And as well, the thing about anti-feminists and anti-sjws is they're not an ideology like feminism. Just like atheism is not a religion. They are the antithesis of religion. They have the disbelief in a deity. Just like we have the disbelief in the idea of the movement of feminism. Not necessarily about equality between man and woman, but the movement in general is something I would disagree with.
Why don't you seem as concerned with actual feminist theory in academia as you are with wrecking people for views?
I already went over this. I don't want to repeat this shit again, but it's much more fucking entertaining, motherfucker.
Denied that systemic racism against black people is like a thing in general? If so, what? Okay, just step up. Just cover your ears for a second and let the smart people talk.
One step ahead of you, dumbass.
Shut the fuck up. You're a fucking cunt. Shut.
Why is a literal teenager's different definition of racism from you so horrifying that you all have to go, no! No, we have to stop him! We've got to debunk him now! Ah!
Primarily because it wasn't a definition, it was an accusation to the majority, to any majority, either they were white, male. Well, I wouldn't consider male the majority because there are more women born in America than there are males, but supposedly, let's just say. And she accused them of all being racist, misogynistic, sexist, transphobic, etc. Simply because they were born. So I'm not sure if that's the definition if you were looking for something, bitch.
Wherever did you get the idea that racism was a self-applied identity? And if the only true racists are the racists who self-identify as racists, how can we ever expect to make any social progress to reduce racism? Or did I just answer my own question?
Steve, I don't know what you think about racism, but that's exactly what it is. Nearly a self-applied identity, where someone believes that they're superior to one race than another. Their race is superior to the other race. Black people who think they're superior to white people are racist, no matter how you look at it. But by your definition, black people can't be racist, of course.
You often say that you are for equality of opportunity, but if people of color, for instance, have to overcome barriers whites do not, such as discrimination and unequal treatment as are well documented in various studies, then how can the current situation be thought of as equal opportunity in any real way? And why do you consider it racist to discuss these issues?
I hate to break it to you, Chrisiosity. How do you even pronounce your name? But white people and many other sorts of people like myself, Hispanics, also get discriminated against, no matter how you look at it. No matter what you do, you will always be discriminated against. That's just life.
If you say you're an egalitarian, will you call out the man-hating slurs that you see coming from people within your community? People who use terms like cuck, beta male, faggot, or mangina? All of these things basically distill men down into thinking that the most important thing about them is to be having sex with a woman. That's rather offensive. So what are you doing to stop this kind of behavior in your community?
I'm not. I'm an advocate for freedom of speech, no matter if it's hate speech or whether it's jokes or anything. Unlike you, superior intellectual beings that know everything, and an inferior being who is a racist, misogynistic pig by birth, and by dressing.
Why is it that you go on and fucking on about safe spaces and trigger warnings and delicate little flowers, but continue to hide behind your cartoon avatars and your childish pseudonyms? And whenever anyone calls you out on your sexist, racist, homophobic, bigoted rhetoric, you become the argument of your own scorn and are hashtag triggered, as they say.
I ain't hiding shit. Square up, toga fag. We're going to go one-on-one, you little shit. Serious note, I think you just basically contradicted this whole video, because two of your members who have been addressing or questioning, both female, I would presume, are both using their avatars and characters to disguise themselves, and probably they would know why. Also, is they had a possibility of getting hacked, they had the possibility of losing their job because of different distinguishing opinions, and they probably know firsthand what you're talking about, so let them answer it for you.
Are you willing to publicly acknowledge and admonish the massive amount of hatred, bullying, harassment, and intimidation that a lot of your fans infringe upon people? And I don't mean these tiny disclaimers that you put under the description fold or flash for 2 seconds at the beginning of the video that you know nobody reads. I mean a public and ongoing anti-bullying stance. Or do you kind of like watching your fans go around harassing people and calling them slurs and telling them to kill themselves? You kind of like it, don't you? I mean, if that's your thing, and I guess that's just what you're into, just makes you a dick.
Sorry to break it to you, because I'm not sure if my inferior intellect can explain it to you in such a high demanding result, but people are gonna do whatever the fuck they want regardless of whether I say so or not. But I only have like 74 subscribers, so why should I even matter? Thank you so much for sticking with me through this entire video. Oh my god, I'm sorry for making it so much more longer than I expected. But if you like to leave a like, if you enjoyed my content, please press the subscribe button below. And thank you for watching me, and thank you for watching me grow as a human being. Alright, peace out, guys.